The council chamber stretched across 3 kilometers of polished black stone. 12 massive thrones circled the center platform where Yuna Choi stood alone. She wore the simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, and it looked plain against the glowing robes and crystalline armor of the alien council members surrounding her. "You have one final chance to explain," said the council leader, a creature whose body shifted between solid and liquid forms. "Why does Earth refuse to surrender the quantum research?" Yuna took a deep breath. She had practiced this speech for months. "Honored council members, Earth's research is purely defensive. We discovered the fold by accident while studying subspace communications. We have no intention of weaponizing it." A chorus of angry clicks and whistles filled the chamber. The council member from the Vexil Empire leaned forward, its 3 eyes blazing red. "You expect us to believe humans stumbled upon dimensional manipulation by accident? Technology that has been forbidden for 2 million years? "We didn't know it was forbidden," Yuna said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Earth has only been part of the galactic community for 50 years. We're still learning your laws." "Ignorance is not innocence," another council member rumbled. This one looked like a floating mountain of purple crystal. "The last species that played with dimensional forces destroyed 17 star systems before we stopped them. We will not allow humans to repeat that mistake." Yuna felt her stomach drop. She had known this meeting would be difficult, but the hatred in their voices shocked her. "Please, give us time to prove our intentions are peaceful. Send observers to Earth. Inspect our facilities. We'll cooperate fully." The council leader's form solidified into something almost humanoid. "The time for cooperation has passed. We vote now. Those in favor of immediate military action against Earth?" 11 hands, claws, and tentacles rose into the air. Only one council member, an elderly being that resembled a walking tree, kept its branches lowered. "The decision is made," the council leader announced. "Earth will surrender all quantum research and submit to council oversight. You have 30 standard days to comply. If you refuse, we will take action." "What kind of action?" Yuna asked, though she already knew the answer. "We are assembling a corrective fleet, 9,700 warships from across council space. Enough to make your choice very clear." The floor beneath Yuna's feet began to glow, and she felt the teleportation field activate. "Please, there must be another way." Her words were cut off as she vanished from the chamber, transported back to her ship in orbit. The council had heard enough. Admiral Hyun received the news 3 hours later in Earth's Orbital Defense Command Center. He stood at the main viewing window, looking down at the blue-green planet below. Behind him, dozens of officers monitored screens showing Earth's defensive positions. It wasn't enough. Not even close. 9,700 ships, he said quietly. That's more than every human vessel ever built, multiplied by 100. Captain Day Park stood beside him. The young pilot had flown more combat missions than anyone else in the fleet. But even he looked worried. "Can we evacuate? Get people to the outer colonies?" "Not enough time," Hyun said. "Even if we had the ships, 30 days isn't enough to move 8 billion people." He turned to face his command staff. "Get me Dr. Hanako. Tell her we're out of options." Dr. Hanako arrived within the hour, accompanied by her colleague, Dr. Tae Lim. Both scientists looked exhausted. They had been working around the clock on the quantum project, knowing this day might come. "Show them," Hyun said simply. Hana activated a holographic display. It showed Earth surrounded by a network of satellites, each one pulsing with blue light. "We call it the Fold Cascade. The satellites create a synchronized quantum field that can tear open a controlled passage into fold space. The space between dimensions," Tae added. "Where normal physics breaks down, where matter and energy become unstable." Colonel Wu Xin, commander of ground forces, stepped closer to the display. You're talking about a weapon? More like a trap, Hana said. Anything caught in the field when it activates gets pulled into the fold. Ships, missiles, debris, everything. Hyun studied the display carefully. What happens to whatever gets pulled in? Hana and Tai exchanged glances. We're not entirely sure, Hana admitted. Our best models suggest they would experience severe spatial distortion. Navigation would be impossible. Sensors would fail. They might destroy themselves trying to escape. Might? Wu asked sharply. The fold has never been tested at this scale, Tay said. We've run simulations, but reality could be different. The field could collapse and take Earth with it, or it could create a permanent rift that swallows the solar system. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what the scientists were saying. This weapon could save Earth, or it could destroy everything. What are the odds? Hyun asked. 60% chance of success, Hana said. 20% chance of catastrophic failure. 20% unknown. Those aren't good odds, Day said. They're better than fighting 9,000 alien warships, Hyun replied. He looked around the room at his officers. Does anyone have a better idea? No one spoke. They all knew the truth. Earth's military had grown rapidly in the past 50 years, but they were still children compared to the ancient civilizations of the galaxy. In a straight fight, humanity would lose. How long to prepare? Hyun asked. The satellites are already in position, Hana said. We just need to run final calibrations and hope our math is correct. Then get started, Hyun ordered. We have 30 days before that fleet arrives. He turned back to the window, watching Earth turn slowly below. And pray we're making the right choice. In the council chamber, the alien leaders were already celebrating their victory. They had crushed rebellious species before. Earth would be no different. They ordered their fleet commanders to prepare for departure and sent messages across the galaxy announcing that humanity would soon learn its place. The tree-like council member who had voted against military action quietly left the chamber. It sent a single encrypted message to its home world. A simple warning that the other council members would ignore. The message said, "The humans are more dangerous than they appear. Recommend extreme caution." But the message arrived too late. The fleet was already gathering. The council fleet arrived exactly on schedule. Captain Day watched from the cockpit of Phoenix Rising as thousands of alien warships emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. They came in waves, each one larger than the last, until the darkness of space was filled with glowing hulls and pulsing engines. "Command, this is Phoenix Rising," Day said into his radio. "I count 9,683 vessels. Looks like some species kept their ships home." "Copy that, Phoenix," Admiral Hyun's voice crackled back. "The Keltar Empire recalled 200 ships yesterday. They claimed engine problems, but Yuna thinks they believed her warnings." Day smiled slightly. At least someone had listened. He adjusted his sensors, scanning the massive fleet. Phoenix Rising was humanity's most advanced ship, equipped with experimental stealth systems that made it almost invisible. The aliens had no idea he was watching them from just a few thousand kilometers away. "Their formation is loose," Day reported. "They're not expecting a fight. Most ships have their shields at minimum power." "They think we've already surrendered." Colonel Wu's voice joined the channel. "Arrogant bastards." "Maintain radio silence after this," Hyun ordered. "Day, get the readings we need and return to Earth orbit. We activate the cascade in 6 hours." "Understood, sir." Day guided Phoenix Rising closer to the alien fleet, his fingers dancing across the controls. The ship's quantum sensors recorded everything. Shield frequencies, power signatures, weapon configurations. All the data Dr. Hana needed to calibrate the fold cascade. What surprised Day was how old everything looked. These weren't cutting-edge warships. They were ancient vessels maintained by automated systems, upgraded over millennia, but based on designs millions of years old. The Council had been the dominant power in the galaxy for so long that they had stopped innovating. They had stopped expecting real challenges. "Command, additional observation," Day said. "These ships are old, really old. I don't think they've fought a real war in thousands of years." "Noted," Hyun replied. "Now get back here." Day fired Phoenix Rising's engines and slipped away from the fleet, still undetected. As he flew back toward Earth, he wondered if the aliens even understood what was about to happen. They thought they were coming to discipline a primitive species. They had no idea they were flying into a trap. On Earth, Dr. Hana stood in the control center surrounded by screens, showing equations and energy readings. Her hands shook slightly as she entered the final commands. Dr. Tay worked beside her, double-checking every calculation. "How are we looking?" Hyun asked, walking up behind them. "The satellites are synchronized," Hana said. "Power levels are optimal. We're as ready as we'll ever be." "And the risks?" Hana turned to face him. "Still the same. 60% success, 20% failure, 20% unknown. Admiral, once we start this, we can't stop it. The cascade will run for at least 72 hours before we can safely shut it down." "I understand." Hyun looked around the control center. Every officer was at their station, faces tense with anticipation. "Everyone who wanted to evacuate is gone. Everyone here chose to stay. If this works, we save Earth. If it fails, at least we went down fighting." Yuna entered the control center, still wearing her diplomatic uniform. "The fleet is broadcasting their final demand. We have 1 hour to respond with unconditional surrender." "We'll give them a response," Hyun said grimly. "Just not the one they expect." Rena Song, the communications officer, looked up from her console. "Sir, I'm picking up internal fleet communications. They're arguing about who gets credit for Earth's surrender. Some captains are already planning their victory parades." "Let them dream," Wu said. He had insisted on being present for the activation, even though his ground forces would be useless against a space fleet. "They'll wake up soon enough." Phoenix Rising docked at the orbital station 20 minutes before activation. Day ran to the control center, carrying data chips filled with sensor readings. "Got everything you need," he said, handing them to Hana. She plugged the chips into her computer and scanned through the information rapidly. "Perfect. This confirms our shield calculations. Tay, adjust the fold frequency by 0.03%. Tay made the adjustment. "Done. We're locked in." Hyun checked his watch. 30 minutes until their deadline. Let's not make them wait." He walked to the center of the command platform. "All stations, report status." One by one, the officers confirmed they were ready. The quantum satellites were online and synchronized. Earth's remaining defense fleet had pulled back to safe distance. Evacuation ships had cleared the danger zone. Everything was in position. "Dr. Hana," Hyun said formally, "activate the fold cascade." Hana's finger hovered over the activation button. She thought about all the lives depending on this moment. 8 billion people on Earth, millions more in the orbital stations and colonies, and the thousands of aliens in that fleet who had no idea they were about to enter hell. She pressed the button. The satellites orbiting Earth lit up simultaneously, their blue glow visible even from the planet's surface. Energy poured between them, creating a network of quantum connections. Space itself began to ripple like water disturbed by a stone. In the alien fleet, alarms started blaring. Sensors that had been calm suddenly went haywire. Navigation systems showed impossible readings. The calm confidence of the fleet commanders turned to confusion. "What's happening?" the fleet admiral demanded. "Why are my sensors showing spatial distortion?" No one could answer him. Nothing in their databases, Nothing in millions of years of recorded history prepared them for what came next. The quantum field expanded from Earth like an invisible wave. It moved at the speed of light, covering 500,000 kilometers in less than 2 seconds. The alien fleet, arrayed in their loose, arrogant formation around Earth, had nowhere to run. Reality tore open. From Earth. It looked like a sphere of distorted space suddenly surrounded the planet. Light bent strangely at its edges. Stars visible through the field appeared twisted and multiplied. Inside that sphere, 9,683 alien warships suddenly found themselves in a place that should not exist. "Fold activation successful," Tay announced, his voice shaking. "The field is stable. All enemy vessels are inside." The control center erupted in cheers, but Hyun remained focused on the main screen. "Show me what's happening in there." Phoenix Rising's sensor data created a rough image of the fold's interior. The alien ships were drifting in random directions. Some fired their weapons at targets that weren't really there. Others collided with vessels that appeared solid but were just quantum echoes. A few tried to jump to faster-than-light speed and simply vanished, torn apart by the conflicting physics. "They can't navigate," Day said, studying the data. "They can't even tell which direction is which. Space is folded back on itself." "How long can we maintain this?" Hyun asked. 72 hours maximum," Hana replied. "After that, the satellites will burn out and the field will collapse." "Then we have 3 days to decide their fate," Hyun said quietly. He looked at the twisted space surrounding Earth and wondered what they had just unleashed. Inside the fold, Admiral Thexkor of the Council Fleet watched his perfect armada fall apart. His main view screen showed 3 copies of the same destroyer, each one appearing solid and real. His navigation officer insisted they were traveling forward, but the stars outside showed they were moving sideways. Time itself felt wrong. His chronometer said 5 minutes had passed since entering this nightmare, but his body felt like it had been hours. "All ships maintain position," he ordered, but his communications officer shook her head. "Sir, transmissions are breaking apart. Some ships receive our messages instantly, others with a delay of hours. Some don't receive them at all." Thexkor had commanded fleets for 3 centuries. He had fought pirates, rebels, and rogue colonies, but nothing in his experience prepared him for this. "What kind of weapon is this?" "It's not a weapon, sir," his science officer said, tentacles trembling with fear. "It's a dimensional trap. They've folded space around us. We're existing in multiple realities at once." On the view screen, Thexkor watched 2 council cruisers fire at each other, each one believing the other was an enemy. Their weapons cut through shields that couldn't adapt to the folded physics. Both ships exploded. The fleet was destroying itself. "Send a message," Thexkor ordered. "I don't care if it takes hours or days. Someone outside this nightmare needs to know what happened here." His communications officer worked frantically at her console. "I found a weak point in the field, sir. A small gap in the fold. If I route everything through quantum channels—" "Do it," Thexkor commanded. "Tell the galaxy that Earth has mastered dimensional warfare. Tell them to never ever attack these humans." The message transmitted, though they had no way of knowing if it would arrive. Thexkor slumped in his command chair and waited. There was nothing else he could do. Outside the fold, Rena intercepted the message 18 hours after the cascade activated. She ran to Admiral Hyun's office, where he was meeting with Yuna and Colonel Wu. "Sir, you need to hear this," Rena said, playing the recording. Thexkor's voice came through, distorted but clear enough. The alien admiral's usual arrogance was gone, replaced by raw fear. "So they finally understand," Wu said with satisfaction. "Good." "They're terrified," Yuna said softly. "Hyun, we need to talk about letting them out." "Let them out?" Wu exploded. "They came here to destroy us, to force us into submission, and you want to show mercy?" "I want to show we're better than they are," Yuna replied. The galaxy is watching. That message is spreading to every corner of Council space. If we destroy that entire fleet, we become the monsters they feared we were. Hyun rubbed his tired eyes. He hadn't slept in 2 days. How many ships are left? Dr. Tay entered the office with a report. Our sensors show approximately 3,000 vessels still intact. The rest have been destroyed by collisions, friendly fire, or dimensional stress. 3,000, Hyun repeated. We've already destroyed 6,000 ships without firing a single shot. And the galaxy knows it, Yuna pressed. Every species in Council space just watched us trap their combined fleet. They're already afraid. If we show mercy now, we prove we're not the threat they thought we were. Wu shook his head. If we let them go, they'll just attack again. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. Not if we make them acknowledge our sovereignty first, Yuna argued. We offer them a deal. Power down their weapons, formally recognize Earth's right to our own technology, and we let them live. They go home carrying the message that humanity could have destroyed them but chose not to. Hyun looked at Dr. Tay. Can we extract ships from the fold? Yes, Tay said hesitantly. Dr. Hana has developed a technique. We can create small gaps in the field and pull individual ships through, but it's slow. Each extraction requires us to recalibrate the entire cascade. We might be able to save one ship every 30 minutes. That's 3,000 ships, Wu calculated. 1,500 hours. We only have 72 hours before the satellites fail. So we can save about 140 ships, Hyun said. Less than 2% of what they sent. It's more than they deserve, Wu muttered. Maybe, Hyun agreed. But Yuna is right. The galaxy is watching. He stood up and walked to the window overlooking Earth. We just proved we can defend ourselves. Now we need to prove we're not conquerors. So what's the plan? Rena asked. Hyun turned back to face them. We broadcast terms. Any ship that powers down completely and acknowledges Earth's sovereignty will be extracted before the field collapses. First come, first served. The rest... He paused. The rest made their choice when they came here to attack us. They'll never agree, Wu said. These are Council fleet commanders. They've never surrendered in their lives. Then they'll die with their pride intact, Hyun replied. But I think fear is stronger than pride right now. Yuna was already working on the message. She wrote it carefully, making sure every word was clear. This would be humanity's first official communication as an equal power in the galaxy, not as supplicants begging for acceptance. The message broadcast on all frequencies, penetrating even the distorted space of the fold. To all Council fleet vessels, this is Earth Command. We did not want this war. You came to our home to force our surrender. Instead, you found yourselves trapped in technology you do not understand. We offer you one chance, power down all weapons, and acknowledge Earth's sovereign right to develop our own technology. Do this, and we will extract you from the fold before it collapses. Refuse, and you will share the fate of the 6,000 ships that have already been destroyed. You have 12 hours to decide. Inside the fold, Admiral Thexkor received the message. He read it 3 times, unable to believe what he was seeing. The humans were offering mercy. After everything the Council had done, after arriving with nearly 10,000 ships to crush them, the humans were offering a way out. His pride wanted to refuse. His training said never surrender. But his eyes saw the shattered remains of Council ships drifting through the twisted space around him. His sensor officer had just reported 2 more cruisers colliding and exploding. Send our response, Thexkor said quietly. Tell them we accept their terms. Across the fold, other Council commanders made the same calculation. Some refused out of pride and were never heard from again. But most chose life over honor. One by one, 3,000 ships powered down their weapons and transmitted their acknowledgement of Earth's sovereignty. Dr. Hana began the extraction process. It was exhausting work, requiring perfect precision. Too fast, and the ship would be torn apart. Too slow, and the fold would destabilize. But she and her team worked without rest, pulling ships one at a time from the dimensional prison. They saved 2,847 ships. It wasn't enough to save everyone, but it was more than anyone expected. When the satellites finally reached critical failure 58 hours after activation, the fold collapsed. Everything still inside simply vanished, pulled into the space between spaces, perhaps lost forever. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every species with quantum communication received the same shocking reports. Earth had trapped the Council's great armada in folded space, destroyed nearly 70% of it, and then showed mercy to the survivors. The footage of damaged alien warships limping home played on countless worlds. The Council's authority crumbled in a matter of days. Yuna stood in Earth's newly expanded embassy station, watching as ambassadors from dozens of species arrived requesting meetings. Species that had ignored humanity for decades now wanted to establish diplomatic relations. Some brought gifts, others brought apologies. All of them brought fear and respect. "Ambassador Choi," said the Keltar representative, a being whose skin shimmered with changing colors. "My government wishes to formally thank you for the warning you sent. We withdrew our ships because of your message. You saved 200 Keltar lives." "I'm glad some listened," Yuna replied. "I wish more had." "Many regret not listening now," the Keltar said. "The Council's remaining members are fighting among themselves. 8 species have formally apologized to Earth. 4 refuse and have withdrawn from galactic politics entirely. They call humans dimensional demons." "And what does your species call us?" Yuna asked. The Keltar's colors shifted to deep blue, which Yuna had learned meant respect. "We call you the species that showed the galaxy had grown too comfortable, too arrogant, too certain of its own superiority. Earth reminded everyone that new ideas can defeat old power." Not everyone was so diplomatic. Colonel Wu, now promoted to general, faced angry delegations from species whose ships had been lost in the fold. They demanded Earth attempt a rescue mission for the vessels that had vanished when the field collapsed. "You trapped them in that nightmare dimension," one ambassador shouted. "You have a responsibility to bring them back." "We offered them a way out," Wu replied coldly. "Your fleet commanders chose pride over survival. That's not our responsibility." "But the technology exists," another ambassador pleaded. "If you can create the fold, you can rescue them." Wu looked to Admiral Hyun, who stood beside him. Hyun had aged years in the past weeks. The weight of command showed on his face. "We won't risk Earth's safety for a rescue mission," Hyun said firmly. "Opening another fold could destabilize our entire solar system." "The ships that vanished are gone. If they survive in fold space, they exist outside our reality now. I'm sorry, but some prices are too high to pay." The ambassadors left angry, but they left. No one was willing to threaten Earth again, not after seeing what happened to the last fleet that tried. Dr. Hana worked in her laboratory with Dr. Tay, studying the data from the cascade. They had succeeded beyond their wildest projections, but the cost troubled them both. "We killed thousands of beings," Hana said quietly. "Maybe tens of thousands, counting the crews of destroyed ships." "They came to kill billions," Tay reminded her. "We defended our home." "I know, but that doesn't make it easier." Hana pulled up sensor logs from the fold's interior. "Tay, look at this. These readings from the final moments before collapse." Tay studied the data. "These signatures are impossible. It looks like the ships didn't just vanish. They're still broadcasting, but the signals are coming from outside normal space-time. Exactly, Hana said. I think the fold didn't destroy them. It pulled them somewhere else. Into a pocket dimension, maybe, or a parallel reality. Can we reach them? I don't know. Maybe. But Hyun is right. Opening another fold risks everything. Hana saved the data to an encrypted file. This research is too dangerous. I'm recommending we classify it at the highest level. No one should have this knowledge except Earth. The Council would have said the same thing about dimensional research, Tay pointed out. And they were right to be afraid of it, Hana replied. We just proved how devastating this technology can be. I don't want to see it spread across the galaxy. Captain Day received a new assignment. Admiral Hyun was retiring from active service, having accomplished more than any military commander in human history. The ceremony was broadcast across Earth and to all human colonies. I didn't win this war, Hyun said in his retirement speech. Dr. Hana and her team won it. I just gave the order. Captain Day risked his life gathering the intelligence we needed. Yuna Choi tried to prevent the war entirely. This was a victory for all of humanity, not just the military. He pinned his admiral's insignia on Day's uniform. The future of Earth's defense is in your hands now. Learn from my mistakes. Always look for the peaceful solution first. But never forget that some enemies will only respect strength. Day accepted the promotion with mixed feelings. He was 32 years old and now commanded humanity's entire military. The responsibility felt crushing. Rena continued monitoring deep space communications from her station. Most messages were routine diplomatic traffic or trade negotiations. Earth was rapidly becoming a major player in galactic commerce. But some messages troubled her. She found Admiral Day in his new office staring at tactical displays. Sir, you need to see this. She played the recording. It was faint, heavily distorted, but unmistakably coming from fold space, a repeating pattern of pulses that could only be artificial. Someone is trying to signal us from inside the fold, Rena said. The ships we thought were lost. Some of them survived. Day listened to the pattern repeat. Can we decode it? Not yet, but it's definitely deliberate. Someone in there knows we're listening. Day closed his eyes. This was exactly what he feared. Don't tell anyone else yet, not until we know more. If word gets out that we can hear survivors, the pressure to attempt a rescue will become unbearable. And if we can rescue them? Rena asked. Then we'll have to decide if saving our enemies is worth risking our own people, Day said. The same choice Hyun made when he offered to extract those ships. But this time, we won't be in control. We'll be going into the fold, not pulling them out. Rena left the office, and Day turned back to his displays. Earth was safe. Humanity had proven it could defend itself. They had earned respect and fear in equal measure. But respect and fear weren't the same as friendship. Earth stood alone now, surrounded by species that viewed them with suspicion. Some admired their strength, others resented it, and somewhere in the twisted space between dimensions, thousands of alien crew members drifted in an impossible prison, possibly waiting for rescue that might never come. Day thought about his predecessor's words. Always look for peace first, but never forget that some enemies only respect strength. The problem was figuring out which approach to use when. 3 months after the fold collapsed, the galaxy looked completely different. The Galactic Council no longer existed in its old form. A new assembly had formed, one that included dozens of species that had been excluded before. They called it the Galactic Assembly. And for the first time in millions of years, decisions were made by discussion instead of decree. Yuna sat in the assembly chamber as Earth's official representative. This time she wasn't standing alone on a platform while others judged her. She had her own seat, equal to every other species present. The assembly recognizes Earth's representative, the speaker announced. Yuna stood. Thank you. Earth wishes to formally propose a treaty of mutual defense. Any species that signs will be protected by Earth's defensive technology. In exchange, we ask for open trade, scientific cooperation, and peace. Murmurs filled the chamber. The Keltar representative raised a tentacle. Does this protection include the fold technology? No, Una said firmly. The fold cascade remains Earth's secret, but we will share other defensive systems. Shield improvements, sensor technology, early warning networks, everything except the one weapon that could threaten the entire galaxy. And if we're attacked by species who haven't signed this treaty? Another representative asked. Then you'll have to make a choice, Una replied. Join us or face your enemies alone. Earth won't be the galaxy's police force, but we will stand with our friends. The vote took 3 days. In the end, 47 species signed the treaty. It was the largest alliance in galactic history, and Earth stood at its center, not as rulers, but as equals who had earned their place through strength and wisdom. On Earth, General Wu oversaw the construction of humanity's new deep space fleet. These weren't warships, though they could defend themselves. They were explorer vessels, designed to carry humans to the far reaches of the galaxy. First generation complete, his chief engineer reported. 30 ships ready for launch. Each one can carry 1,000 colonists plus equipment, self-sufficient for 10 years of travel. Good, Wu said. We showed the galaxy we can fight. Now we show them we can build. Every colony we establish makes Earth harder to threaten. Every human settlement is another reason for peace. He watched the construction docks through the window. Hundreds of workers moved in zero gravity, welding and assembling. Human workers alongside aliens from treaty species. Working together. Building together. Dr. Hana stood in her laboratory for the last time. She had decided to shut down the quantum research program permanently. The fold technology would remain classified at the highest level, known only to a few trusted individuals. Are you sure about this? Dr. Tay asked. This research could revolutionize physics, medical applications, instant communication across any distance. We're giving up so much potential. We're giving up a weapon that could destroy the galaxy, Hana replied. The fold cascade worked because we got lucky. The math could have been wrong. The satellites could have failed. We could have torn a permanent hole in reality. Sometimes the smartest thing to do with dangerous knowledge is to lock it away. She erased the last files from her computer and handed the final encrypted data chip to Tay. Only 3 people will have access to this information. You, me, and Admiral Day. No one else. If humanity ever needs this technology again, it will exist. But it won't spread beyond Earth. The Council tried to control technology the same way, Tay pointed out. Look how that turned out. The difference is we're choosing to limit ourselves, Hana said. Not imposing limits on others. Every species in the galaxy can research whatever they want. But this particular technology stays with Earth, where we can make sure it's never used carelessly. Captain Day, now Admiral Day, prepared for Phoenix Rising's first mission under his command. He was taking the ship beyond the galaxy's explored regions, searching for new worlds and new civilizations, but he had a secret secondary mission. The fold signals are getting stronger, Rena reported from the communication station. Whatever is out there, it's trying harder to reach us. Can you triangulate the source? Day asked. Maybe. If we get closer to the edge of normal space, I might be able to track where the signals are coming from. Day studied the star charts. The edge of explored space was 6 months away at maximum speed. Beyond that, no one knew what existed. Uncharted systems, possibly hostile species, definitely dangerous. Plot a course, Day ordered, but don't tell anyone why we're really going out there. You think we can rescue them? Rena asked. I think we need to know if it's possible, Day replied. Those signals mean someone survived, maybe hundreds or thousands of beings trapped in fold space, experiencing who knows what. If we can help them without risking Earth, we should try. And if we can't help them, then at least we'll know the truth. Day strapped into the pilot seat. Besides, it's not just about them. If fold space is accessible, other species might discover it eventually. Better we learn its secrets first, so we're prepared. Phoenix Rising launched from Earth orbit, accelerating to speeds that bent light around its hull. Behind them, Earth glowed blue and green and beautiful. Ahead lay the unknown, dark space filled with mystery and danger. Day recorded a message in the ship's log. Admiral Day, first entry. Phoenix Rising is departing Earth on an extended exploration mission. Our official objective is to map new star systems and establish first contact with undiscovered species. Our unofficial objective is to investigate signals from fold space and determine if rescue is possible for vessels lost in the Cascade. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. 3 months ago, humanity faced extinction. We survived by using technology we barely understood. We showed the galaxy that we deserve a place among the stars, not through conquest, but by proving we're strong enough to defend ourselves and wise enough to show mercy. But mercy has limits, knowledge has consequences, and some doors, once opened, can never be closed. We're flying toward one of those doors now. What we find will shape humanity's future. I just hope we're ready for it. Phoenix Rising jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving Earth behind. The galaxy stretched before them, vast and full of wonders. Somewhere in the twisted spaces between dimensions, lost ships drifted. Somewhere beyond the known stars, new civilizations waited to be discovered. Earth had taken its place among the ancient powers of the galaxy, not as children begging for acceptance, but as equals who had earned respect through courage, innovation, and restraint. The Council had sent nearly 10,000 ships to crush humanity. Those ships had vanished, and with them, the old order. A new age had begun, an age where Earth stood not as a servant, but as a guardian, not as a conqueror, but as an explorer. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of underestimating humanity. And in the silence of deep space, the signals from fold space continued to pulse, a mystery waiting for someone brave enough to solve it.